It was 1946, and my father was born. He was the 12th of 13 because it was a good Irish family. 18 months later, my grandmother was still pregnant with the 13th child when my grandfather died of a heart attack at the age of 42. This is the late 40s. There's a single mother now raising 12 children, with the 13th very soon on the way. This was a time where single mothers had it really bad. Wage disparities were pretty significant, and so my father, growing up, had a bed wheeled into the kitchen when he would go to sleep, because his options were sleep in the kitchen or sleep in the bathroom, and he said that the kitchen was warmer. He told us that the only time as a child he was able to have fresh fruit would be around the holidays, because welfare would provide baskets of fresh fruit, nuts, and government cheese to all of the welfare families. So when I would hear the welfare queen disparaged, I would think of my grandmother as the face of the welfare queen that was being rucked through the mud on our political discourse. And so my father growing up would say if he ever wanted seconds, he would always have to eat really quickly, because with 13 children, being able to be fully fed meant you had to eat before your siblings could finish. It meant that if he could try to eat at another home, he would. Luckily enough, he was able to rise from that, get his college education. My mom was able to have her college education, and so the two of them had a combined income, but they both came from very low conditions, and so had to rise up. There wasn't that silver spoon that many have. And so they were able to provide food for us. That was never a scarcity. And my dad had always wanted to be able to provide an individual bedroom for all of his children, but all they were able to afford while we were growing up was a 2-bedroom ranch for the 5 of us. But at least we were able to have food on the table. And then each Christmas, we would, as children, go out and open our gifts. It was this magical time, all of these wonderful toys, these wonderful games. And then, once the gifts were unwrapped, there were our stockings. And in the stockings, we would go through, there would be a bank that was filled with Tootsie Rolls, or there would be this little gag gift, because my dad had a sense of humor. But at the base of every stocking, there was an orange. He wanted us to remember that Christmas was a time for fresh fruit, because it was the only time as a child he was able to have fresh fruit. We're going to fast forward. I become an adult, I've left the house, I make the questionable life decision to follow my call to enter the ministry, so Christmas becomes a very busy time in my life. For a while, when I was in the parish, I was serving churches, and once I transitioned to working for hospice, life around the holidays would be very busy. So the past several Christmases haven't had that same magic. They haven't had that same experience, because I would be driving up really middle of the morning on the 25th, the 8 hours to get to way northern New York to visit my father, and I'd be able to stay for 1 to 2 days. So this past Christmas, he finally decided he was going to come to Boston and have Christmas with me. And he was staying in his hotel room. We had dinner on Christmas Eve and then attended church services, but on Christmas morning we were going to exchange gifts. And I was so excited because he was finally coming to my city. He was coming to really celebrate Christmas, and I was the one in control. So I was able to get him his own stocking. And I came and we exchanged our gifts, then we went through our stockings, and at the base of his stocking was an orange, and at the base of my stocking was an orange, and we peeled open the oranges, and finally, together, father and son, we had a Christmas feast.